So a lot of people think that they need to add more things to their website to get better conversions, sales, and more appointments. But a lot of times people are adding things on their website that are completely destroying their business and they need to remove it immediately. So in this video, I'm going to show you 7 things you need to remove from your website to see your business grow exponentially. Let's hop into my computer and I'll show you. All right, so 7 things you need to remove from your website immediately. Now, your website is your storefront, and its main goal is to turn visitors into customers, whatever that may be. If you run an e-commerce business, if you run a service-based business, whatever you need to actually turn those visitors into customers. And the main thing is that every single potential customer that you have will land on your website to become a customer. So the thing is, if you don't remove these 7 things from your website right now, you're literally throwing money away. You're literally missing out on thousands of dollars if you don't remove these things immediately. Now let's start with number one, which is social media icons in the header. Now, I'm sure you guys have been on websites before and you see those big social media icons that link to people's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and whatever they go to. Let me show you this page here as an example. So you can see here at the top here, this is what I'm talking about. These icons here where you have your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can see here, they put that right at the top and then it goes down to their business. So they talk more about what their business does, creating a unique website. This is just a basic example. Now, a lot of people think that this is a great thing to have on their website, but I highly suggest you remove this. Now, this may sound counterintuitive, right? You may think that adding these icons are good to help you grow your business. It'll link people back to other platforms that you have. But the thing is, on your website, you don't want people to leave, right? You don't want people to go somewhere else. You want people to focus and be on your website to become a customer, because that's the last line of defense you have in your business to turn someone into a customer. People can't buy your products off of YouTube, Instagram, or even Facebook, but they'll buy your products and book in your services on your website. If you have these icons on your website, it's counterintuitive because it can entice people to click and leave your site. It distracts visitors and it lowers user engagement. So if you do want to put these on your website, I highly suggest put them in the footer, which is the bottom section of your website, not at the top. If you put it at the top, it's going to distract people immediately. And a big thing as well is you want to make sure that they are very, very subtle. You can see here, this is a perfect example in the bottom right here. It's right under everything. So if people really want to go and find out more about you, they can. And the best thing about these icons is that they're integrated with the website. They don't have flashy colors, they're not distracting. They're really just there to make sure if you want to go there and see more about the business, you can. So this is a great framework to use when adding social media icons on your website. Okay, so number two is long paragraphs and unbroken text. So thing is, people nowadays have an attention span of shorter than 8 seconds. People are really, thanks to social media, are distracted 24/7. So it's super hard for them to focus. And it's crazy that that's worse than a goldfish, right? So literally, we are worse than goldfish right now. Thanks to TikTok, Instagram, all these things. So because of this, people aren't going to go on your website and read an entire essay. They're not going to read a bunch of text on your website. What I want you guys to understand, and one big rule about websites is that people don't read, they scan. So I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, when you go to a website, you just look at it, you just have the basic design elements, you just scroll around, look at the headlines, that's all you really do. So there's no reason to have big, long paragraphs and a lot of text that's jumbled together, because people aren't going to want to read that in the first place. So let me give you an example of some bad text design to show you exactly what I mean. So this page here is called Hacker News, and you can see this website, it looks like it was made in 2003, right? It's just text on a screen. That's literally it. There's barely any breakage of the text. It's just numbers here, text here, and that's it. I mean, it looks very basic, and looking at that, you don't want to read all that. It just looks like a lot. You want to make sure your text doesn't look like a lot on the page. Now, if you scroll down here, let me show you an example of a good text design that explains and shows text much better and explains the product much better. So you can see this website is called slight.com, and you can see how big and how much of a difference it is. The text is big, the text is bold, and it's just right there, and it explains the value of what they do. What's the use of knowledge if you can't find it? That's a big problem for their ideal client. That's exactly the problem they solve. They actually have a little testimonial here. It's a very efficient way to have social proof. Now, slide again, you can see they have a testimonial here in text. Every single text is so easy to read. It's just like 4 or 5 words, one sentence. It's so simple. You don't want people to go on your page and have to scroll down all these things. It's just a waste of time. You can see how beautiful they structure it, and you want your page to look just like that. Right? Now, number 3 would be a testimonials page. So testimonials are a great way to have social proof and build authority. I always say the more testimonials you have, the better, because once people see the transformation you put in someone else's life, it's going to make them much more likely to go with you because they think they're in the same boat. Now, to show you an example of a good testimonial, here's Morris Design, a good page that I saw. And you can see it's a very great testimonial. It just talks about Mario, who's the owner. They built a project and it looked good. And honestly, it's just very simple, right? And since testimonials are so important, I highly suggest you don't put them on a separate page. Put them on the homepage or the landing page that people see. A lot of people like to put the testimonials back in another page and nobody can see them. It's really hard to find. No, you want to have your success stories on your homepage immediately so people can see what you're doing. So I say integrate them into your landing page and make sure it's cohesive with your other sections, right? So to give you an example, here's a website called Notion. You can see that on their homepage, the first thing that you see, one of the first things you see is trusted by Affirm, Remote, Password, Figma. These are multi-million-dollar companies, and if Notion says that they work with them, you know for a fact that they're a great company and they'll work for you. So make sure as soon as you can, show who you've worked with in the past and the results you've got them. All right, so moving on to number 4 is stock photos, right? So one of the first things you need to do with your website is to build trust. That's number 1. If people don't trust your website, they're not going to click on it. They're not going to give you their credit card, and they're not going to sign up with you, right? And nothing kills trust faster than the stock photo of some fake people. I'm telling you. I'm sure you guys have been on websites before where you go on and it just looks like it was made by an AI. It looks like it's made by a bot. That absolutely kills trust. Now, an example of this is right here. Seeing this photo here, it's not real. So you're just going to be like, just like this photo, it just screams distrust, fakeness, corporate. You don't want that in your brand image. So definitely invest in photos that are unique to your company and your brand, however it can be, because it'll go a much long way in your business. Now, number 5 would be thank you pages as dead ends. So thank you pages are great because they help you connect with your potential or current clients. If someone buys your product or signs on to have a meeting with you or whatever the case may be, if you have a thank you page, it's perfect because you acknowledge that they exist, you acknowledge that you care about them, and it makes them want to do more business with you in the future. But the thing is, a lot of people just keep it a dead end after that. They just have a thank you page, they say whatever and move on. You don't want that to lead to nothing, because if someone just landed on your thank you page, they're clearly interested in your product or service. They clearly either bought it or they did something, whatever the case may be. So it's a perfect time to keep talking with them. What you can do is you can either upsell them a new product, you can link to more of your content, or you can send them other relevant calls to action in your business, whatever the case may be. But make sure to build a connection with that potential person and to capitalize on that as quickly as possible. All right, so for number 6, let's go to unclear homepage headlines. So when people land on your website, they need to understand what you do, why they're there, and how to move forward if they're interested in your services. That's basically all they need to do. And if they don't understand that immediately, as soon as they click on your page, they're just going to leave. They're going to click off because people don't have time to just go around and just look at websites if it's not going to benefit them. That's what anybody thinks about, is what's in it for me, right? So because of this, let me give you an example of a bad headline that doesn't explain what their company does and would entice people to leave. So this is just an example, but here in this page here, it says putting people first. That's all it says in the headline. What does that mean, right? Putting people, what does that mean? Like, are you a charity? Do you work with dogs? Do you work, what do you do? Like, no one knows what they do. And that's a big problem. You want your ideal client to understand exactly what you do and why they're there. Now, let me give you an example of a great headline that explains what they do a lot better. So if you just change it here and it says leadership coaching and training for mid-level managers. Perfect. It explains who they are, what they do, and who they help, right? They help mid-level managers, and what do? They do leadership and coaching. Perfect. So if you're in that situation, you're going to click immediately because you don't have any questions on what they do. And that's exactly what you want on your website. So you want to make sure your brand message is explained super quickly in that headline. So this second example is much more descriptive and visitors will understand why they're there, which is great. And if you want to test if your headline is clear, concise, and descriptive enough, I suggest taking the 5-second test. So for those of you who don't know what the 5-second test is, let me go to their website and show you exactly what they do. So the 5-second test is a website that analyzes the clarity of your design or message, measuring the first impressions and recall. So first impressions are everything, as everyone knows. So this website tests to make sure if you're leaving a great first impression, which is super cool. So you can scroll down here and see what they do. They measure the design. They measure what your website does. It's a really, really cool website. So if you're ever wondering if your brand messaging in your website is actually working, definitely go to this website and they'll do it for you completely for free. All right, now the last one, number 7, is useless animation. So I want you guys to think of your website like a fancy dish, like your Gordon Ramsay, right? So let's say your website is like a ratatouille. So Ratatouille, I mean, of course, everyone's seen the movie, but Ratatouille is a very high level, high class dish that a lot of five-star restaurants make, right? It's so amazing and it's really cool. But like with any dish, if you put too much seasoning, it's going to completely ruin everything. It doesn't matter what you put, right? So seasoning can make and break your dish. And I want you guys to think of your animations like seasoning, right? If you put way too many animations on it, it's going to destroy it. Just like if you put too much salt on your eggs, you can't eat it. It's super important to have a tasteful amount of animations and lead visitors to becoming customers. So let me give you guys an example of a website that uses way too many animations. So this website would be called Try More. So you can see Try More. This is a Japanese website, and you can see as soon as you open it up, it's looking crazy. It's looking crazy. They have a bunch of cool animations. It looks cool. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is that like it's just hard to understand like what to do. What like it's hard. Like it's just hard to get to where you need to get to, and it's hard to understand what they do. As you keep scrolling here, it's just so much animations, and it just feels kind of slow because you keep scrolling up and down. You want to get to the next one, but you can't scroll. You don't want this, right? You want to make it seamless to go around on the website, super seamless and easy. The harder you make it, the worse it takes for your potential customer. I want you guys to understand that the less clicks someone has to book an appointment with you, the better. So too many animations can confuse the user, make the website load slower, and complicates the whole sales process. So just make sure your website is as simple as possible. Now, if you want a website and system that guarantees you clients and also books appointments on your calendar on autopilot, then you can check the first link in the description. There'll be a video that explains exactly how we do this for our clients. I'll be totally honest, it is a sales funnel, so you don't have to click it. But if you do, we'll help you out and build you a website and system to help you grow your business basically on autopilot. If you want more tips on how to optimize your website and grow your business, then stay tuned and subscribe because I'm giving out free value every week to help you guys grow. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Take care.